Welcome back. I missed you. I'm sorry I missed last week. I know a lot of people were upset that I didn't, not a lot of people. There were some people that were upset that I didn't react to episode 2 of Vanderpump Rules. I watched it. I just didn't have time to turn around the YouTube video. So tonight we're going to do a 2-part reaction, episode 2 and 3. For episode 2, I want to talk about Tom's assistant I'm concerned about her. Tom's undying love for Raquel. The fact that Tom was unable to have a party because Ariana was not feeling it. Scheana's postpartum OCD, and James's ongoing frustration with Tom. If you're new here, my name is David Colarossi. I'm a licensed psychologist, and for fun in the evenings, I run this YouTube channel where I use events in pop culture like Vanderpump Rules to discuss concepts in psychology. I watched episode 2 a few days ago, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around the dynamic between Tom, Ariana, and Tom's assistant. I just, for so many reasons. So the first is, the episode starts with Tom coming back from his harrowing experience or whatever in New Zealand, and he goes, "It's my birthday, I want to have a party." Now, he's living in the house with Ariana, and those two won't talk. And I remember in episode 1 being like, well, how the hell does this work that you guys are in the same house, you're navigating things together, but you don't talk? The answer is they just overburden this poor woman who's stuck being the go-between. So this is shown as Tom wants to have a birthday party. He turns to the assistant and says, "I want to have a party." And she goes, "Ariana's going to have a problem with it." And he goes, "Yeah, can you try to take care of it? Write her a letter, text her." And then the assistant, so it's, the first thing that bothers me is the fact that their emotional burden is laid almost entirely on the shoulders of this poor woman. That's the first thing that bothers me. The second thing is how incredibly deferential she is when she is going between the two of them, especially Ariana. Every interaction is, "I'm so sorry that I have to ask you this, but can we do X, Y, or Z?" When she talks to her in person, when she texts her, and it pisses me off that Ariana's reaction to her is always rude, always cold.
And he said that he could get you like a very nice hotel room.
That's not happening.
Okay.
I get that she's mad at Tom for what happened months ago. I think that she has a right to be angry with Tom. I don't think she has a continued right to be shitty to this poor woman who is just stuck here dealing with the emotional fallout of these two people that are totally unable to deal with their emotions. So that's Tom's assistant. The next thing that I thought was interesting, not interesting, I thought was annoying, was Tom's continued the expression of love for Rachel.
Heard from Raquel?
I haven't heard from her in a few weeks. I just miss her, I just want to see her,
Yeah.
give her a big hug. I'm still very much in love with Raquel. I'm hoping that we can give our relationship a real chance.
I just simply don't buy it. Like I watched the finale, and I watched in the media how he's him and the most extras traveling, and him on podcasts with Dr. Drew, and him starting his own podcast, and him dating different girls, and him kissing people in the crowds. And I just don't believe that he is really pining after Raquel the way he says he is. I'm sure that he's reached out to her. I'm sure that he wants her to keep liking him, but I don't think that he's genuinely got ongoing love for her the way he says. I really think that he is looking around and going, "Oh my gosh, everybody in my life is mad at me. I've lost all of my friends, all of my relationships. Raquel's always been good to me. She's always cared about me. I hope I didn't lose her." And so that's the way I interpret it. Is I think this is sort of a, please, I need someone to feed my ego, and you always did it so well. I hope you're still around. That's how I see it. Push back on me if I'm being too harsh, but I just don't see genuine love from Tom Sandoval. Okay, Tom's party. This whole episode sort of revolved around Tom's party and how everybody interacted with that. I feel like I have to say, I don't know any other 41-year-old men that plan their own birthday bash, but it's not a surprise that Tom bucked the trend on that. The question at hand is, should he be able to have a party in his own house if he is a roommate with Ariana? And I think the answer is yes. I think it is reasonable for someone, if you co-own a home, to be able to have a birthday party in that home. And I think that Ariana, it feels like, is just being a stick in the mud in an effort to punish Tom. And so there's this sort of thing throughout the episode where you see Tom being like, oh my God, Ariana is being so unreasonable. Why is she doing this? Why is she making it so hard? Why won't she let me buy the house from her? Why won't she just move out? Why won't she pay the bills? Why won't she? And it seems like at every step of the way, Ariana is trying to make Tom suffer. And I do think that at every step of the way, she has been unhelpful and unreasonable. But plot twist, at the end of Tom and Ariana's 9-year relationship, Tom was banging her best friend for 7 months. So Tom needs to keep it all in context here. Okay, on a more serious note, I thought the conversation between Scheana, her mom, and her husband was valuable, especially given the kind of the demographic that watches Vanderpump Rules.
I'm hoping I can get to a place where I'm not afraid to do things alone with my daughter, where I don't worry about something bad happening to her every day, or to Brock, or to my mom. I want to be able to enjoy living in the moment and not think that this could be the last moment.
Postpartum depression, I think that the rates right now are at 10 to 30%. That's what they say. I think it's a lot higher than that. I think that our society pushes hard this idea of you have a baby and your life is wonderful and you're going to be so obsessed with your child, you're going to love it, and everything is just sunshine and rainbows. And it's not true. And so a lot of times moms feel great shame because they don't feel good after having a child. And talking about that, I think, is really, really valuable. I don't have, so when I was in my private practice, I never worked with anybody that had postpartum OCD. But I can tell you, high level, what's happening here is it's the same sort of mechanism that creates postpartum depression. You have a child, your hormones are all out of whack, you have this new thing which you care a lot about, and it creates a lot of anxiety. OCD is an anxiety disorder. Traditional OCD, you are having obsessions and you are having compulsions. Typically, those things are not logically related, but psychologically they are. I obsess about whatever, my mother's health, and so I'm going to engage in some ritualized behavior that I think is going to take care of my mom. But it's like locking the door 3 times, right? They're unrelated. The same thing here with postpartum OCD. You are worried about the well-being of your kid and obsessively engaging in some kind of behavior that really doesn't impact the well-being of your kid. And by the way, this is not the case for Scheana, but it can go both ways. The obsession can be that you're going to hurt your kid. So the compulsion is, I need to avoid my child at all costs. I need to separate myself, right? It can have really, psychologically really damaging effects on a new mom. So the fact that she's getting treatment for it, I think, is wonderful. And I don't know, they don't share enough about what her treatment protocol is. I can tell you, I agree, cut the alcohol. Typically, there's some kind of medication that she would be using, and you would be engaging actively in practices to reduce her global anxiety. And it seems like she's doing that, and it seems like the idea of having a nanny that she can trust would be really helpful, and I can understand why broadening her... Let me say it this way. When you have a new child, that becomes the whole of your world. Right? You have all of your eggs in this basket, which is this new baby. And that sounds healthy for a mom, but as you can imagine, if you only focus on this basket, the rest of your world gets shut down and you may not be able to attend to it. And this basket gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you have lots of eggs here, but you have nothing else happening outside of it. And from a clinical standpoint, it is helpful to get people exposed, back invested in other areas of their lives, so that while they're going to take care of their kid, the kid can't be all that they live for. Because if all that you live for is this child, you are going to obsess about its well-being. So the idea of going out and doing her screamo stuff, the music video, I'm not sure she's the most talented singer or music video producer, but getting involved there, I think, is really valuable. I think going on dates with Brock, really valuable. I think learning to trust a nanny, really valuable. So I think she's doing all of the right things. I guess I just want to say, I'm glad that they talked about it. I think it is a very serious thing, and it does seem like she's actively working on it. All right, lastly, James, who is What I want to say is he's histrionic. I'm not making a diagnosis. I'm just saying he has some of the behavior characteristics of somebody that might be diagnosed that way, right? It is all about James, and everything is very theatrical, and oh my gosh, I'm so upset. And it's just like, he's not histrionic. He's just a drama queen. And it's like, I want to be like, James, are you really this concerned? How invested are you in getting this apology from Tom? Like, was it really the ultimate betrayal to you that Tom hooked up with your ex? You have now, by the way, moved in with Allie into your home. Like, is it really this big of a deal to you?
Is it illegal to piss on someone's bush?
James, no. Ariana's bush too.
Okay, that's it for episode 2. Now on to episode 3. But before we go there, if you would please hit the like button, whatever the YouTubers say, smash it, destroy it, annihilate it. It's really good for the YouTube algorithm. They have to know what a banging video this is or no one will see it. For episode 3, I want to talk about Tom's thoughts about suicide. I want to talk about Ariana becoming the new queen bee and Scheana's continuous need for more attention and her seemingly unending ability to make this all about her. I think let me start with the most important thing here is Tom's discussion of suicidal ideation. So he does his thing, which I've seen him do in other episodes, where he goes to Lisa and he says, woe is me. And in this episode, Lisa sort of goes, Tom, you created this. And then he goes, yeah, but my life is really hard. And she goes, Tom, you created this. And he goes, yeah, but I'm suffering. I've been crying. And she goes, Tom, you created this. And then he goes, Lisa, I've been suffering so much, I've even thought about killing myself. And then Lisa, who has had a brother pass away from suicide, goes, Tom, you can't even say that. Here's what I think, and I mean this sincerely. Tom drives me nuts, but I feel like I have to earnestly say, you have no idea what's going on behind the scenes for somebody. And so if Tom is saying he has experienced suicidal ideation, I think the people around him should take it seriously. I think that it is very possible, if you look at his outward behavior, I think it's easy to say, well, how could it be, right? He's traveling with the most extras. He's going on the Special Forces show. He's making money from Vanderpump. He's kissing girls in the audience, right? He's doing all these things, and I think it's easy to look at it and go, he's fine. But we don't know, and I think it's a serious enough thing that the comment should be taken seriously. And I would be lying if I said I didn't have a negative reaction to him saying it, because it felt to me like he was escalating his expression of distress and not getting what he wanted from Lisa until he pulled out the trump card, which was suicide. And given Lisa's experience with it, I felt like it felt to me like it was a very manipulative move. So I don't know what's going on. My message to you would be, I don't care what the setting is. If somebody says it, you take it seriously. And if Tom was doing it to manipulate Lisa, it's one of the most disgusting things he could do. And it would fit in line with the diagnoses that people always throw at Tom. All right, on to the new queen bee, Ariana. I'm liking her less, right? I mean, I think this is the obviously the narrative of this season is Ariana taking her power and potentially going too far with it, right? Like that's clearly what the narrative that's evolving. At the end of last season, everybody felt bad for her, and they wanted her to step into her power. They wanted her to punish Tom. They wanted her to be successful. And now, it feels like there's more and more instances of her sort of misusing people or treating people poorly. The first is with the house and Tom's party, though I look at it and go, it's her right. If I were her, I would be spiteful, and I wouldn't let Tom enjoy his house the way he wants to. So I sort of get it. What I didn't like was when Schwartz was trying to get everybody to go to Lisa's new restaurant in Tahoe, and she's like, we will not be going because we don't like you.
Anyone says to you about any of this is always going to fall on deaf ears. You're a lost cause.
Okay, don't speak on behalf of the whole group. You're not the queen of the group. Come on.
It feels very high school to me. The difference is in high school, the queen bee is sort of elected organically to that role. And everybody looks up to that person for some reason. In this case, Ariana was forced into that role by society as a consequence of Tom's behavior. But so she's like it almost feels like she's the artificial queen, and everybody's okay with it a little bit, right? But as she has more opportunities and she gets a bigger ego and has more of an attitude and dismisses people more, I wonder how the group will deal with it. That will be an interesting part of this season. Now, speaking of people that may experience some jealousy around the spotlight that has been placed upon Ariana, we have Scheana, who I think is starved for attention, and I felt like her behavior in episode 3 was, the nicest way to say it would be, laughable. Let's just walk down storybook lane here. About a year ago, Scheana punches Raquel because she's so outraged about this affair. Raquel files a restraining order. Scheana says she didn't punch her, but whatever, there was a restraining order put in place due to Sheena's behavior. Then at the reunion, all 3 episodes, Scheana takes as much time as she can to bash Raquel and bash Tom. All 3 episodes. Then after that, Scheana continues to talk shit about Raquel. Scheana then goes on to her own podcast and bashes Raquel. All of these events happen, and at the end of that, Scheana is thinking, Tom should be reaching out to me to be friends. Tom's close friend passes away. Scheana reaches out to him, and Tom blocks her. And Sheena's reaction to that is to be outraged at the fact that Tom blocked her, which is a wild interpretation of the situation to me. I mean, it's like, imagine having a fight with somebody, okay? And their best friend dies. You go to the funeral and you walk up to them and they dismiss you. And then months afterwards, you yell at them because in the moment of their grief, they didn't want to talk to you. After you had a fight with them. It's an insane position to have.
It's Ali's. I found it in his bedroom.
Yeah, I didn't expect getting blocked when I reached out when someone so near and dear to you passed away.
I understand that and I appreciate it.
And to me, it seems like just a attention grab to me. So while I care about her and I worried about her in episode 2, I thought her behavior in episode 3 was laughable. Those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments below.